Lake house, expensive cars, and an impressive boat. A West County man is living large while being accused of scamming people who don't even know him. News 4 investigator Chris Negus confronts the man who once pretended to be an officer and is now in trouble with the law again.
Mr. Krieger, could we talk to you about your business? It's a question people all over St. Louis want answered. Paul Krieger has made lots of enemies.
He, of course, promised us the world.
Standing in front of a stalled construction project, Lori Rao doesn't mince words.
Our money was stolen from us.
Rao and her husband hired Krieger to build this home in Kirkwood. She says Krieger's business, Everett Builders, required 10% down on a project that was never finished.
These are the trusses that have been in the rain and snow and everything for 6 months now.
As the home rots under the Kirkwood sky, Krieger's debt grows. Rao says she's out $107 grand, and she's far from the only one standing in the Krieger collection line. How much money does Paul Krieger owe you?
He owes me $35,000.
From plumbers to tile installers. How much money does he owe you right now?
$30,000.
He's a bully that's just trying to keep us quiet, and he's used us.
The business owners that helped Krieger build homes are suffering. Small mom-and-pop businesses that sacrificed labor and material for Krieger.
It's $90,998 that he owes us is actually our money. Our 3 kids, our babies' money.
The De Camargos family says they put roofs and siding on homes built by Krieger without getting paid. And that's when they started investigating Krieger's lifestyle.
Brand new Bentleys, his Corvettes that he has. We see the pictures of him at this lake house in his boat. He doesn't have a worry in the world about our money that he's just taken from everyone and spent it.
In 2016, Krieger's Bentley, among other nice cars, racked up a $99,000 personal property tax bill. During the same year, a lumber company received a $90,000 judgment against him. Another $17 grand from the trash company. And the hits just kept coming. $65,000 here, $30,000 over there. And it only gets worse. How much money does Paul Krieger owe you?
$81,000.
Gary Henley says he installed furnaces and air conditioners in as many as 11 homes built by Krieger without getting paid.
This is mind-blowing.
But for this 76-year-old man, his daughter says the situation is incomprehensible. How much money has been misappropriated at this point?
Almost $400,000.
Frank Steinberger spent his entire career working for McDonnell Douglas, then retired from Boeing. Today, he lives in a South County nursing home, worried about his financial future after his retirement money wound up in Krieger's control. How it happened is baffling. Have you ever met Paul Krieger?
No.
Never met him in your life?
No.
Steinberger's daughter says her dad suffers from dementia, and that his longtime financial advisor convinced Steinberger to sign documents that shifted his life savings to Krieger's control. One record shows a wire disbursement to Everett Builders for $235,000.
Absolutely.
Amy Swaminathan says her father's advisor, a guy named Bill Glazer, convinced Steinberger to invest in Krieger's business. Remember, Steinberger's daughter says her dad has dementia, and there is zero chance he would risk his entire retirement on a guy he's never met.
He claimed that he brought Paul out to Dad's assisted living facility where he lived at before to have lunch with Dad, to meet Dad. To
That never happened. No, sir.
Does somebody belong in jail?
Absolutely.
Paul Krieger already knows what that's like. In 2008, he was busted for impersonating a police officer, a felony. Now he's in trouble again. Krieger is facing a 2-count federal indictment. He's accused of soliciting more than $700 grand from 2 separate investors without properly disclosing his debt to those investors. According to the feds, those massive investments appear to have been wiped out in less than 1 year. When I confronted Krieger, his attorney did the talking.
All of these people are claiming that your client owes them a substantial sum of money.
Again, Mr. Negus, we can't comment. He's under indictment, and again, we're not avoiding your questions.
They look online and they see that he's got $1 million house down at the Lake of the Ozarks, was driving a Bentley. They see all of these assets and they say, when are we going to get our money back?
Well, if you're going to do your due diligence, and I suspect you will find that all of those assets are encumbered. They're not, Mr. Krieger has very little or zero equity in them.
Before you feel too bad for Krieger, consider this. Court filings reveal Krieger asked the court to modify the conditions of his release, allowing him to visit his lake house so he can sell it. It's listed for $925,000, down from over $1 million. Filings also reveal Krieger was prepared to provide the court with details of an upcoming cruise itinerary, which is absolutely maddening for all these people, including Frank Steinberger, who's worried about how he's going to pay his nursing home bills.
Mr. Steinberger claims he's never met your client and says his life savings ended up in his possession.
Mr. Negus, as you can understand, this case is currently under the investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office, and it's my understanding that Mr. Glazer is also being investigated.
Ah, Mr. Glazer. That's the trusted financial advisor that helped Frank Steinberger with his finances for years. He lives in a large home at St. Albans, so I went there to find out what he's up to these days and how he's connected to Paul Krieger. That story tomorrow night at 10. Chris Negus, News 4.